If you've ever felt like something was wrong with your body, but every doctor kept telling you you're fine, this episode's for you. Because today, I'm breaking down why it took me 10 plus years to get diagnosed, what was actually happening behind the scenes, and what I wish I knew from day one.
Welcome to the walkthrough.
Before we get into it quickly, if you've ever been ignored, dismissed, or felt like your doctor wasn't taking you seriously, I created the Patient Protection Blueprint that gives you exactly what to say in appointments so you can stop getting brushed off. You can download it right now in the description below because the truth is, most people aren't taught how to navigate the healthcare system. And that's exactly why so many of us lose years trying to get answers. For 10 years, I knew something wasn't right. I wasn't guessing. I wasn't being dramatic. I was paying attention to my body. When I was about 14 years old, I started noticing a dark ring around my neck. And when I turned 19 years old, I began developing a black mark on my forehead. I thought it was hereditary because my grandfather and my father had the same markings on their neck and their forehead too. So I ignored it. I graduated undergraduate school. I married my college sweetheart and landed my first major job after college. And with that came major health insurance. So I began routinely going to my doctor because I had insurance. But every time I went, I would ask the doctor, "Hey doc, why is this dark spot on my forehead? And why is this ring around my neck?" And I'd get the same answer, "Oh, it's hereditary," or "Oh, that's an allergy shiner," which is common when you have season allergies. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I went along with the explanation. So I started doing also what most patients start to do. I doubted myself. I told myself, maybe it's not that serious. Maybe I'm overthinking this. But as I grew older, the ring around my neck enlarged, as did the mark on my forehead. I actually looked like Cain in the Bible. But the symptoms also began to come on a more frequent basis. I began having difficulty holding my bladder. I had increased pain in my back and kidney, and these symptoms progressively got worse. And this is the place where a lot of people get stuck, right between knowing something is wrong and being told nothing is wrong. So let's talk about some of the reasons this happens, because this wasn't just bad luck. Let's talk about the first reason. The system is built for speed, not depth. Most appointments are 10 to 15 minutes, and that's barely enough time to explain your symptoms, answer questions, and dig into anything complex. So, the question is, what happens? Well, doctors frequently go for the most obvious explanation, but not the most accurate one. The second reason is symptoms get treated, not investigated. Instead of asking, why is this happening? You get medication for symptoms, you get temporary fixes, you get surface level solutions, but the root cause is still there. Here's a third reason. Normal test results can be misleading. And this is one of the biggest problems because when tests come back normal, the assumption is there's nothing wrong. But here's the reality. Normal ranges are averages, not absolutes. And if your issue doesn't show up clearly on a standard test, it can be easily missed. Here's a fourth reason. Patient dismissal is more common than you think. At some point, I stopped being seen as a patient with symptoms, and I started being viewed as an anxious patient, or an overreactive patient, or someone who is obese, and that's the reason for everything. Or I was told everything's normal and I'm fine. And once that label's applied, guess what? Everything else gets filtered through that filter. Let me pause there for a second, because if this sounds familiar, if you've ever walked out of an appointment feeling unheard or brushed off, that's exactly why I put together my Patient Protection Blueprint. Inside, I give you the exact phrases to use when a doctor dismisses your concerns. I also tell you how to ask questions that actually get answered. And I show you how to take control of your appointments. It's in the description below, so if you download it, you can have it for your next appointment. Because the difference between getting ignored and getting answers is often how you communicate while you're in the room with your doctor. So what finally ended the 10-year plus cycle that I had when it concerns this? It wasn't a miracle. It wasn't a mindset shift, but it did occur after I woke up from being passed out. What happened is I passed out. I found myself in a hospital with my blood sugar at critical levels. I was suffering from diabetic ketoacidosis, or DKA. I remember during my stay in the hospital, the doctor asked me, "How long did you have that dark ring around your neck and that dark spot on your forehead?" I thought she was being sarcastic, but being in the condition I was in, I didn't really have the energy to be offended. So I told her, "Hey, I've had these markings since I was a teenager." What she told me after that broke my heart. She said, "You are literally either pre-diabetic or diabetic at that time. Having a dark ring around your neck and that large spot on your forehead is a sign of what's called insulin resistance." In my mind, all I could think about was how could I have avoided this whole diabetes life had I known then what I know now. I was in tears because this was something that was ignored for 28 years. And I want you to avoid those same mistakes. Now, after that experience, I no longer take a passive approach to my healthcare. Here's what changed. I document everything: symptoms, patterns, triggers. I ask direct, specific questions. I stopped accepting vague responses and I pushed for deeper testing and a second opinion. And most importantly, I stopped outsourcing full control of my health because that's my control. Because doctors are experts, but they don't live in your body. You do. And if you're currently stuck in that cycle, here's how you start reducing the timeline between your symptoms and being diagnosed properly. Number one, come prepared. Don't walk into appointments empty handed. Bring notes, bring your symptom timelines, and bring specific concerns for the doctor to address. Number two, ask strategic questions, not just, "Am I okay?" but ask this: what are you ruling out and why are you ruling that out? What else could explain what I'm dealing with? And what's the next step if what you prescribe doesn't work? Number three, normalize second opinions. One doctor is not the final authority. Different perspectives can change everything. Number four, pay attention to patterns. Your body gives signals over time. Track them. They matter more than you think. If there's one thing I want you to take from this episode, it's this: it should not take 10 years to be heard, but if you don't know how to navigate the system, it can. So don't wait. Download the Patient Protection Blueprint in the description below and start using it at your next appointment. And if this episode resonated with you, send it to someone who's still searching for answers. Because sometimes the difference between suffering in silence and finally getting diagnosed is having the right information at the right time. Again, thank you for listening to us at the walkthrough. Please feel free to subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment. And also go and get your copy of the Patient Protection Blueprint in the description below. Click on the link, and thank you very much. God bless. Blessings to you and your family.